Tesla crypto helps Microstrategy become huge, while at the same time kind of hurting Tesla stock, is our story for today. I also wanted to note we'll be speaking up because we actually have a pretty heavy-duty ocean effect going on here in beautiful Carlsbad, California. So we wanted to show you what the setting was. This is Greg for Teslafaninsight. Thanks once again for joining us. If this is your first time, welcome. If you're a repeat visitor, welcome back. We also want to thank our Patreon supporters. If you enjoy the show, please take time to join us on Patreon for trading ideas, etc., that you may not get because we do daily on Patreon, where we do every other day here on the regular channel. So the focus of our conversation today is the fact that Elon elected to purchase $1.5 billion in crypto, but this was done evidently the beginning of this year. The impact is that Bitcoin's price has risen from about 35,000 when they bought it to now 46,000. So in the process, Tesla's made somewhere around $400 million, maybe $500 million on the balance sheet, which is actually really good. The challenge that's popped up is that for accounting rules, there are two issues going on. The first is that Tesla cannot recognize the gain that they've experienced on any stock until they mark to market or sell the stock. So basically, the $1.5 billion just sits on the balance sheet, and until sold, they're kind of stuck with just that amount. The flip side of this, though, is there's a risk. And the risk is that if, in fact, the stock price drops below, or the value of the cryptocurrency falls below the $1.5 billion purchase price that Tesla experienced, then you have this problem where it has to be recognized right away. So your losses actually have to be included. And the problem that pops up is that now you have Bitcoin end up costing Tesla money rather than allowing it to make money when everything was up. So this is going to be an interesting turn of events to see how, in fact, this all works out, because it's great that Tesla could end up doubling or tripling the end value, but if Elon Musk does not choose to sell, we then have the problem of you now have less cash to work with. You have a bunch of crypto and valuable crypto, but how do you fund operations if you can't use that cash? So I believe that this may be the seeds of why it is that Tesla stock price is down after initially being up. The analysts have to take a look carefully at what's going on before they make their recommendations to the investing heavy-duty public. And so the problem that's happening right now is what is going to happen in this case, and the early returns are not good. As you know, we have something called the 3-day rule. The analysts will take a day or two to make their assessment of what's going to occur. Then they're going to write the reports and sell the reports into the institutions, who will then come back and make a decision on how to sort of value what's going with Tesla and this cryptocurrency. The other variable that they're going to have to consider as well is how much cryptocurrency is Tesla going to take in when it comes to payments for all manner of products. And once those payments come in, they again will add to the cryptocurrency balance of Tesla if it's not used to buy anything at all. So our assessment of this whole thing is that, there's a big discussion right now where everyone's focused on the fact that with Tesla being the first company of size to actually get into cryptocurrency, there's sort of a leading indicator of what's going to happen with the larger market. I believe if they make good money off of this, we're going to get a large number of companies to actually join them, which in fact would push the value of Bitcoin in particular and crypto in general to a lot higher levels. So I guess the answer here is let's stay tuned. Now, a contrast to this whole thing is what's happening at Microstrategy. As you know, Michael Saylor, the CEO of Microstrategy, owns 70% of the stock of the company, and it's a public company. Not only did he buy $1.1 billion in crypto at an average price of $15,000, but he went out and borrowed $600 million plus, and then from bondholders, and bought more cryptocurrency. So there are a few aspects of things relative to Mr. Saylor that I think are very interesting. Number one, the stock price is booming, and there seems to be a corollary between the level of Bitcoin prices currently and the stock price of Microstrategy. So for those of you who own Microstrategy, congratulations. I really like the idea of having a way to trade in MicroStrategy or crypto/Bitcoin without the headaches of going into the market and buying crypto. I think it's awesome because you can hedge, you can buy puts, you can buy calls. There are all kinds of instruments now available to you to actually enjoy owning sort of cryptocurrency, but it deletes a number of headaches that are there. Now, it is true that MicroStrategy has the same problem Tesla has, which is until MicroStrategy sells, they have to hold shares purchased on the balance sheet at the price that they bought it, A, and then B, they can't, the accounting doesn't allow them to benefit, but because it's a pure play in terms of Bitcoin, it's very easy to calculate, A, how many Bitcoins does a MicroStrategy have, and therefore you can assess what the dollar value of those rather easily. So it makes it easy to actually sort of work with MicroStrategy as a backward way to own Bitcoin without all the headaches. Now, the question is, what do we see happening here? Well, one of our favorite analysts is Kathy Wood at ARK. And her contention is that we're going to actually see a situation where a large number of institutions are going to start embracing cryptocurrency. And sort of the tripling of prices that we've seen over the last year should continue based on a supply and demand situation where the demand is exceeding supply and we continue to see rising prices. Now, according to what I heard about the conference from last week on cryptocurrency that was held by the folks at MicroStrategy, there's an interest or $100 million sample by one of the large insurance companies, and it's sort of a first step for seeing large organizations enter. We also have the folks at PayPal and at Square involved in cryptocurrency because you can now buy it directly there in, if you will, limited quantities, but it allows you to get in and perhaps at a better price if you want to buy it in that fashion. So I have to say that I'm really impressed. The options this morning in about an hour 20, were up about 100% on MicroStrategy based on how this is all working out. Another variable when it comes to MicroStrategy is that they're having an interesting problem, which is, the price has gotten very high, and you would think there'd be a lot of selling of MicroStrategy's stock. But the problem is that there are only 10 million shares, 70% of which is owned by Mr. Saylor, and he ain't selling. So as a result, you can have relatively not that big a movement on the value of Bitcoin cause a rather dramatic rise in the value of the stock of MicroStrategy. So I think what this really means then is that there's the potential for those who get in to actually make some really good money as a result of how all this is working. So we wanted to sort of do this show because it looks as though Mr. Saylor convinced Elon to move into cryptocurrency, and Tesla does benefit in terms of money that they've made thus far. But the problem is, it seems to me that it's a little bit more of a headache for Tesla than it is for Microstrategy. And one wonders if Elon, after the first bout, might consider doing more, perhaps in line with the bond sale that Mr. Saylor did, in order to realize more gains from crypto by his endorsement of it, with his purchase. So the other company that we're looking at that you might want to consider is the symbol is MARA, and they're a cryptocurrency mining company that's done very well in the last, like 100% on their options in the last 3 hours, but very well over the last few days. And I have to say that I'm really impressed by Tilray. It was announced that marijuana may be legalized throughout the United States. If so, Tilray really benefits from that exposure. So I'm in the stay tuned mode. I think we're going to end up with some interesting developments, and I think that by getting in now, one could make some really good money in the process. And we'll keep you posted on new developments that we're seeing. But it seems as though the MicroStrategy benefit from Tesla's purchase of Bitcoin is huge and getting bigger. And if you're so interested, you might want to consider some MicroStrategy stock or options to take advantage of this situation. So we want to remind you of your health tips. Don't forget 25 leg lifts per leg. Make sure that you don't go to bed within 4 hours of eating, minimum 2 hours. Let the food digest so you don't get any issues with acid reflux or cancer issues. Also want to encourage you to consider a 5-2 or some other fasting diet. Very helpful in terms of both your health physically as well as your health mentally. Also wanted to encourage you to consider a light salad prior to going to bed, especially if you're going to do lovemaking. The blood flow to the stomach limits blood flow to other parts of the body that you might find beneficial in that activity. As well, we wanted to mention a 30 SPF or better as a way to reduce the chance of skin cancer. And we also wanted to encourage you to think about no more than once a week fried foods, helps prevent type 2 diabetes and other issues in that realm. So we want to thank all of you for joining us today. Please remember to like and subscribe. Tschüss German, or au revoir French, Lihitro Hebrew, Hoda Hafez Farsi, Strazvice, hello in Russian, Ni hao ma, Chinese, Konbanwa, Japanese, Namaste, Hindi, Hey do, Swedish, G'day, Australia, Assalamu alaikum, Muslim. And in Jamaica we say, enough respect, walk good man. Thanks for joining us today, and we look forward to constructive comments, and please remember to like and subscribe.